Hey guys, it's Yaya Diamond, and I am so very excited. It's just so good. It's just so good. You just don't understand. Okay, so listen. Last year we had an interview with filmmakers and the film crew and everybody and all the actors, and I'm doing it again this year. I'm so excited. I'm just so very excited to have them back. It is a big miracle. The film industry is suffering, okay? Because, a lot of us consumers are like, no, don't like it. No, don't like it. Nope, don't want to go see it. Nope, I don't like that either. And I like this one, which is independent films. Go figure. We're going to roll. Oh, excuse me. I'm losing it here, but Antonio's not. And I want to welcome him to the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and welcome, Antonio. How you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, the one thing that I wanted to ask you is, how did this new film come about? When did you decide that you were going to go ahead and get these guys involved in all of this goodness?
Well, from the experience that we had last year with, or 2 years ago with Genuine Villains, I knew that I needed to make something else that would showcase our talents even more. We knew we have a lot more to offer. So my director and I, Vinny Orleans, we came up with this great story based on his experience, which he will tell later on. And I auditioned Tack, Tack Sappington on Casting Networks, and he was perfect for the role, and we got him. And I knew that I had to get my boy Jay back. So I don't do nothing without him, almost anything without him, film wise. And so that's how we came about. And well, here we are again.
Yes. I thought it was like a year ago. It's been 2 years. I missed you last year. That's what it was. Where were you doing this, weren't you? You were writing. What is it like to actually see your project come to life and then to have so much support?
It's unlike any other feeling that a artist will have, like a painting being adored by the fans. It's a work of art, but it's also patience and finding the right people. I've been blessed with the gift of finding the right people for the roles, and it's what these guys have done for me, with me, is irreplaceable.
Mm, mm, mm. So okay, so how did you guys meet? Because I already know that my boy Mr. Baker. He was already on the show. I know him already. He ain't nobody special. I'm just kidding. It's like that. When you see, somebody you've seen before, it's like, but that's okay. I know that you got talent, but what about everybody else?
Well, a quick review, right? So I met Diego on Craigslist, and he probably thought I was a psychopath. And then through Diego, I met Sherrard. And then from there, when we did the second film, um, we met Tack, and then we met Daniel from
Wow.
there.
So Benito, tell me about yourself.
Um, California kid, grew up in Chino. Now I stay in San Pedro, California. I'm a veteran. Um, and then I went to film school, and here I am making films.
Wow. Well, a lot of people go to school and they learn something, but they never use it. So you're one ahead of it. You're doing the thing. Wow. Sherrod, I know you've been on here before, and so has Benito, but tell us about yourself.
So obviously, I'm an actor. Also, I'm a rapper as well. So when we did the last film, Genuine Villains, I was able to do the lead song for that soundtrack. So
I
I feel,
remember.
yeah. So I'm very proud of that. But a little bit more about me. I just love to entertain. I love to become different characters. So that's why I really enjoy working with Diego, because Diego just he I don't know what it is about Diego. He knows how to find the right characters for me so that I can challenge myself. And
Mm.
so that's what brought me here again for the
Oh, that's
second
sweet.
time.
That is nice. That is nice. Tag, tag. You are
Yes.
not excluded from this. You must speak.
Okay. So a little bit about me. I'm from Oklahoma originally, and I was going to college at Oklahoma State, and I wasn't going to have anything to do with acting at all. And so I was in sports media, and I switched to theater my sophomore year, and then took my first acting class and decided that's what I needed to do. And so then after my sophomore year, I dropped out and headed out here to start acting. And then the way I met these guys is last year. Um, I was actually back home visiting for the summer for a couple of weeks, and I wasn't going to respond to anything acting related at all. And then Diego reached out to me over casting networks, and I didn't respond. I was like, no, I'm not going to respond to anything. And then I remember driving back home. You know, it's like a 21-hour drive from Oklahoma to California. I was just driving, and he DM'd me on Instagram, and no one had ever done that, not for me at least. And so he DMs me on Instagram like, "Oh, this guy must really want me to be a part of the project." And he's like, uh, when I got back home and we scheduled a virtual audition, and he was like, "Yeah, I looked over your materials that you sent me, and I really liked it." And I could tell the way he was talking to me that he was completely convinced that I was the guy to play this part, and he was dead set on it. And as soon as I got finished giving my audition, he was like, "I'm 95% sure I want to give this role to you. So do you want it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And it was that quick.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and that's how I met uh, Vinny or Benito, and then that's how I met Sherrard was the shoot. Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Welcome to California, Mr. Oklahoma boy. All right.
Did we lose somebody here? I guess I can introduce myself
Yes.
during this pause
You
here.
knew I was going to do it. You knew I
Don't
was going
waste no time, Dan.
to. Let's go.
It's all good. I'll just chime in really quick. I'm Daniel. My background is more of tech. I come from the tech world and fundraising, and most recently I moved to Thailand about 4 years ago. And being out here has afforded me the ability to take risks and do other projects that I otherwise wouldn't be able to do back home in the US. And I recently got into doing AI podcasts, AI documentaries, but using AI images with podcasts. And I got commissioned earlier in the year to do that. And then a mutual friend of Vinny and I, DP of the film, Vic, he told me about this film that he's working on, and he showed me some screenshots of their production about a year before I joined the production. And it was this project that was orbiting my attention and my radar up until Vic recommended Vinny to basically give me a shot, my first full length feature film at editing. And I took a look at the reels and decided that there's something there. As I said before, and what I compliment Vinny and Diego on is that, and also the actors as well, everybody seemed to have brought their A game on this one, and everyone was taking it quite serious. And there was a sort of a technical prowess that I picked up on, and I just wanted to get in on it and take a stab at it. And I really am eternally grateful to Vinny and Diego for giving me a shot at essentially just accentuating what was already there. And what was already there was a really strong foundation in terms of writing, the acting, and the direction as well. And the story too, a little demented as it is, I thought was pretty on par with the sort of content that's kind of like borderline controversial and a little edgy. So I thought it was a pretty cool flick. And little by little, we got into it, And I think after a few edits and exports, I stopped giving people the caveat about this is an independent film. I would always say, now, this is an independent film. When you watch it, I always had to add that caveat. But as I kept editing and we got more into it and we started adding more scoring, uh, we also did the sound design as well. That's one thing I like to highlight is we did the scoring and the editing because we have a team that can do the sound design and scoring and editing, or I did the editing and about 40% of the scoring. We brought in Nelson Tynes to finish up the scoring, and I'm really pleased with the result. Now I don't have to give the caveat anymore. I can just say, check out this film very proudly, and I can say it's definitely a highlight of our technical abilities.
Sweetness, sweetness. You know, I have to play the trailer. I really do have to play the trailer. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this poster up. This is really cool. Watch this. Look at that. Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and let's play the trailer. All right, we'll be right back. Don't you guys go anywhere.
How's it going, ma'am? Nope. How's it going, ma'am? How's your night been going? Oh, you want to hang? Oh, I can do that. I could sure use that right about now. I got all the time in the world, baby. Shut the fuck up.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, not you. I was talking to myself.
You're pathetic, you know that? You've always been weak until you take control. I can't. Come on, this is your chance.
There's a man on the ground. I think he's dead. His help.
There are some things in this world that you may not find out normal.
Man, I tell you one thing, there have got to be lots of roadblocks when doing things like this, scheduling and just going through the whole thing and learning the lines and I mean, do you even rewrite the script? I mean, Anthony, you have to tell me what was one of the roadblocks, at least some of the roadblocks that you had during the filming and the process of this film.
Well, like you said, Yaya, rewriting lines, coming up with stuff after I've written it, making up stuff on the spot, finding stuff out that works and stuff doesn't, and throwing stuff out and putting it back in, and improvising on set, improvising during the scene, surprising my co-stars. I mean, you name it. Uh, it's just once the script is done, it's never done. And I think that well, and that's part of the process. And I think we're all talented enough to catch on and keep up with what happens when it happens. And I
Mhm.
think that's one of our virtues. Scheduling, finding locations. We looked everywhere for locations. We did some stuff at midnight by the pier, and we just did everything together because we had to. We just had to do it. Otherwise, this film would never get done. It's because of our
Oh,
efforts that we're here today.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
go ahead, Benito. Go ahead.
Another roadblock that I should say, number one roadblock in the film was us ourselves. I know before we were gonna start shooting, I started panicking because I never shot the film at nighttime. It's really scary at night, and you don't know who you're gonna run into. Which we ran into police officers, right, Diego? and they were really cool. Matter of fact, shout out to the San Pedro PD. They didn't give us one problem. They just like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we're shooting a student project. They're like, oh, okay, well, good luck, enjoy it, and that's it. Roadblocks
That's
like
good.
that.
I get.
And then there's times when it was really cold, and you really have that feeling where you just don't want to do it. Let's just call it a day, but we're like, nah, we have to go through and through and until we were done. So there were so many roadblocks in this film. But I think the number one roadblock is ourselves. That was the number one roadblock.
Wow. Wow. And the most, I mean, who else? Anybody else had a roadblock here? Anything happened to you that nobody else knows, or you want to say?
Well, Tack has a story because he was auditioning for Lee. What the killer of Kennedy?
Yeah, there was a few days. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, there was a few days where I was doing a staged reading in Beverly Hills at a theater that was where I was playing Lee Harvey Oswald, and that would start at 7:30 and then go till about 10 o'clock, and I would tell Vinny, hold on for me, it'll be a late night, but I'm willing to do it still, and so I'd show up to his house, like at 10:30, and we'd shoot until 2:30 and knock out some coverage, of me driving or, a short dialogue, but we'd stay there until 2:30. And I mean, I was happy that he was willing to adjust to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not many people will.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And that's the best thing about these guys. Everybody understands that, everybody has a schedule to keep. But if you want the best players, you got to work around that. I'll tell you what. Wow, wow. Anybody else with kind of like a roadblock or something that happened during the filming that kind of hit you and you were like,
I'd
Um,
like to, I guess, add on to what Tax said about showing up late hours actually translates really well into the
mhm.
film. I had no idea that you spent all that time before on something different, only to start shooting post 10:30 p.m. But it translates well in the character
I
now that
think
I
so
know
too.
that piece. That's interesting. So
Yeah.
essentially, that roadblock kind of worked to our advantage in a way. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you look psycho and tired. You really did.
I was,
Mm.
I was very, yeah. And
And that's exactly what the character is. He was tired.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those people that if I don't get enough sleep, you instantly see it on my face, which I don't like for most things. I don't like looking sleepy on most projects that I work on, and it happens all the time. But for this, I think it kind of, I haven't even seen a final cut of the film, but uh, judging by what he just said, I guess it worked, for
I
the
think,
character.
yeah, I
Character.
think it did. Yeah. I really do. You like the crazy Uber driver or somebody. Yeah, I think it really did. I think it really did. What was like one of the most difficult moments? I mean, during this film for and Antonia. Let's start off with you. The most difficult moment because I mean, you're the writer. You've done so much. You're the producer. You acted on this too. I mean, what was the most difficult?
the most difficult was finding the right people. But as Sherrard spoke, I have this odd ability to find good roles for him. Once we got everybody connected, the hard part was getting everybody's scene shot around their schedules, and then finding the locations. And another major roadblock was waiting for nightfall,
Mm,
and waiting for nightfall was always antsy because we're so, the anxiety builds up. But I think for me that's worked better because my character is only available at night, and it needed to be like that. I was doing some method stuff. I asked the director to have the cast leave me alone for a little bit so I can focus on the inner hell of my character. And so that was one of the roadblocks, was being the composer, the writer, the producer, the casting director, and starring in it. I needed to find time to develop my character which at times it can be difficult because I'm playing six different roles. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was a major roadblock for me, finding time to develop my character. But once I found him, he played and he just played.
Wow. Wow. And I mean, okay, so you have Danny. Let me ask you a question. I mean, you're the one that did a lot of the editing, if not the entire thing. And I know what editing can do to a person. I mean, what was that like for you?
That's a very astute observation because that was required a immense amount of what I like to call subhuman degenerate focus, where everything is shut out for like a 48-hour period. I would wake up maybe like 8 a.m. I see the sun. Next thing you know, I see it setting. So I would hit like 15 hours a day,
Yeah.
nuanced cuts. I mean, about 36 exports. But by the 15th or 19th export, I kind of sensed that this was getting good technically. So yeah, you're spot on. It was a Herculean effort to put together to just accentuate the story, to extract what was already there, and to just kind of tell it my way. What I like to tell Vinny is that, and this is what I really appreciated about the style about Vinny and Diego's or Antonio's kind of freedom that he gave us, is to just kind of remix it with very little oversight. And I told them that I'm going to edit the film that I want to see. And as a first time editor and going into, the filmmaking, I understand there are preset hierarchies. But with this sort of thing, I was just really grateful that these guys had such a collaborative, open spirit about our abilities and such a trust too for, I mean, us relatively not knowing each other very long, but to have that unspoken trust after the very first few exports, that was pretty cool. So it was just confidence building on confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, by like the 15th export, I kind of knew like, okay, we got this. I also like to joke that the very first few cuts and were not, I would say, watchable. um, but little by little, we pushed that to being like 15 minutes into it, then 25 minutes into it. And I've kind of, as an editor, you're looking at it from a technical point of view, and then you have to take off those glasses and look at it as a passive viewer. And I found myself as a passive viewer after 25, 45 minutes, my attention would wane. So I'd go ahead and go in there, do some edits, and I just kept pushing it to where your attention naturally wants to watch what's next.
Mm-hmm.
Not It naturally wants to keep your focus on what you're seeing. And next thing I knew, I was finished with the film. So I managed to push that from the very first frame to the very last frame, this like consistent movement in the story. And the sound had a lot to do with that. But I got a lot of direction from the director when I did ask, and one of the really key pieces of advice and techniques that I applied to this was listening to the edit without watching it. That to me was really big. I never thought about that. I used to make music for MTV back in like 2005, doing cue music for background TV shows. So I have some experience with music, and when you're making music, you have to fill in the audio gaps.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that that translates to film, that when there is a gap of like a sonic gap, you can actually fill it in with something visual. So to me,
Mm-hmm.
that was eye-opening. And when Vinny asked me to watch the film again, or just the latest cut, just to listen to it, that was a game changer for me. So this was a big learning process because, as I mentioned before, this is my first film. So yeah, thanks for noticing. It was a very big task, but I was very happy the whole time doing it.
Awesome. Okay. So, Benito, for you, what was the most difficult for you? I mean, everybody has their moments.
Again, number one was shooting at night. Locations. We just didn't know where. I'll just point and be like, over there. That's the location. Let's go. And it's really independent filmmaking, at its best. Guerrilla war, guerrilla tactics, and all this other stuff. And I live right next to a park, and most of the location took place there. And late at night, nobody was there. Maybe a bum, looking at us. But overall, the difficulty of just trying to think, how can we find these locations? Nighttime, putting the lights and where to put the lights, where to put the camera, right? And another difficulty was the editing. I did two cuts, and I knew I wasn't happy with it. And my DP at the time, Vic, he said he had a friend, which is Daniel, who he said, yeah, he's an editor. And I'm like, oh well, can I see his reel or something? Oh, no, it's his first time. And I'm like, what? He doesn't even have a reel on it. I'm like, then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'll give him a chance. Why not? Because nobody gives us a chance when we
Yeah.
make films. So why not, right? And it turns
Hmm.
out it was a great investment with Daniel, man. He really saved the film. He like literally stayed up all night, many days, like he was saying, many cuts and all this stuff. And finally, well, the only one that actually saw his cut was his friend Vic. And Vic kept telling me like, "Oh, you can't wait. Oh, Benny, you gotta see it." And finally, we made an appointment. Me, Diego, Daniel, and Vic, and we just sat and we watched it, and we were like blown away. We were just quiet, and we were always giving like a thumbs up when a scene was really awesome. We'll be like, "Yeah, that was cool." So yeah, to me, the difficulties, it's always the challenge, it's always the wall. But you know what they say, if you want to get things done, you got to go through the wall, you
Yeah.
know and filming. And that's in anything in life. When you have difficulty and there's a wall in front of you, you either knock it down or you climb over it, you know
That's it. That's it. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for that. So, if that was the most difficult, all right, if that was the most difficult, then what was the most easiest? I mean, anybody could chime in. Let me know. What was the most easiest thing for you guys?
Okay, I will start with this one. I would say, and this is probably going to be very cliche, but I think the most easiest part was working with the cast that I got to work with and been
Mm,
blessed to work with. So, going back to the previous question, what was the hardest? For me, the hardest part of it was actually getting into character because I'm known somebody that just likes to be fun and be playful. And so having to just kind of just take that away from me and really be serious was not easy for me in the beginning. But being around Diego and Benito, they gave me confidence. But then being around the cast that I had the opportunity and pleasure to work with, who was right there with me. They didn't judge me whenever I like fumbled over a line. They were just like, hey, you're good. We're gonna get this taken care of. And so that made me feel good and was able to keep pushing forward to just get the scene done
mm,
because everybody that was there had faith that I can do the job. So I didn't want to let anybody down.
mm. I mean, there's just so many. Anybody else for the easiest?
yeah, I was giving direction and telling Sherrod to run. He was like, hey man, the road doesn't consist of running. I'm like, we want some action in this scene, man. Come on, I'm trying to do my job here, right? Trying to make it more playful and fun. But Charlotte's like, "Hey, man, I just came here to act. I didn't come here to run." And I'm like, "Okay, okay, let's just let's just continue on this." But he did a great job, Sherrod. You did a great, like always. You do a great job,
I
man.
I don't remember that, but okay.
Yeah, like I said
Oh
before in
wait,
the earlier in this
I do remember.
meeting, without spoiling anything, it's hard to talk about Sherard's character without spoiling anything because of what he represents in the film. But I like to say that he's he's my favorite character because he's the smartest one in the film, and you'll see why. He kind of sees through everyone's BS, but he was the only one in the film. That's my pleasure to edit, where when you see the film, you'll know what I mean when his character shows up. But that's all I can say about that.
Can't give it away. Look at him. He's like, yes, yes.
That's
I
what I
mean,
love to
okay,
hear because
I
I
have
was
to say,
stressing about that role for sure. I
wow,
was. But
I
I'm
have to
glad it
say,
all worked out.
yes, definitely. I have to say, just watching the trailer and just seeing the trailer, I thought the tech was crazy. I'm just gonna just like being in the cab with Tack would be like the worst thing that could ever happen to me. It's being horrible because he's up there talking to himself, and then he's like, "Shut up!
Well,
What the heck? What
and
the
I have to shout out Benito or Vinny for that, because every time I would do a scene and I thought I would go to some place where I hope the audience would see something, Vinny would be like, "No, harder, go further." And he did that about 20 times throughout filming. And I'd be like, "Really? Like, you want it more than that? All right, I'll do it." And then I would do it, and he'd be like, "Perfect, perfect, that's great." And so I'm glad it translated.
Oh
I
yes,
I
it did.
trust him.
As a matter of fact, you look like you're in character during this whole interview. I mean, how many places have you been?
Yeah, I
This is
know.
like
Now you're really thinking I'm
yeah, but it just goes with the film. I mean, it's like, it's really cool. It's really cool. I like it. Antonio, what was the easiest for you? I mean, I know you said that finding the crew was harder, but yet, there's got to be some things that was really easy for you during this time.
Yes, most all of my entire scenes were just with tag, all of them. And so the easiest part for me was getting into doing the scenes with someone who came prepared, ready to work, ready to give me their A game because I was going to give him my best. And I sometimes improvise on set just to get a reaction, and he reacted in a way that made the scene better. And I played off of him, and he played off of me. So it's really the easiest part was when cameras were rolling was shooting the scenes with my co-star, and he made it easy for me because he was doing his job and I was doing mine, and we there was not one scene where we said, "Wow, that was horrible. Let's do that again." And then we did some great takes, and then we did this one amazing take, and it'll translate on film, and you guys will see. That was the easiest part for me was working with with one actor only, and then having him be ready, as we all should be professionals.
That is wonderful. How does that make you feel, Tack? I mean, that must be a compliment for an actor. I have to say. I mean, I would be like jumping out of my skin right about now. Oh, I can't hear you. Go.
Yeah. Well, and I also have to shout out one of my scene partners who's not with us right now, but Kelsey Cicino. We had a few scenes together, and she showed up as prepared as anyone. And she's done a lot of work, and you can tell. And she was extremely professional. We got our scenes done quick mainly because of her.
Mm.
And she brought just a professionalism to her acting that a lot of independent films don't get.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Kelsey, to add on to what he's saying, very professional. There's a scene where Tag's character hits her with a knife in her face,
Oh no.
and
Hey,
Oh
no
no.
spoiling anything.
What?
I'm sorry, but
No spoil.
I just have to say that we were like scared, and she was like, "Wait a minute, hey, guys, back off. We're like, are you okay? She's like, no, hey, I'm acting here. Come on, guys. I'm trying to do a job. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Oh
Then
my
I
god.
turn around and told Tack, hit her again, like actually punch her. No, just playing. But she was a really professional, like throughout the whole time. Uh, no, I have no complaints for her. I'll work with her again if she gave me the opportunity, you know. But very professional, Kelsey.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, man, I am telling you, I've had a wonderful time. I've seen Tack in so many different places that he's already freaking me out. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be a great movie with him being like the driver and telling people off. I mean, I'm already scared. Okay. I think he's like waiting in lieu for his next victim. I'm just saying, all right. And then you got the back of Antonio's head on the actual poster, which is right there. And I mean, that's kind of freaky because he's turned his back on all of his friends.
I feel like
Never mind.
smacking his back.
And then Sherrod, thank you so much. Daniel, thank you. Benito, thank you guys so much for joining us. You know, there is another movie that you guys are doing, and I've already got the trailer for it. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it right now. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. I'm already like scared. I'm already scared. It's already
So,
done.
real quick on that, Yaya. Vinny and I created that story. Well, but 20% of it at a Denny's restaurant next to children and families eating breakfast, and we came up with that as we were talking, and really weird and absurd, but that's how we roll. And we didn't want to do nothing like that, but we came up like that, and then 104 pages later on the script that I wrote, uh, I have my boys right here ready to rock and roll. Yeah, he's got it right there, and it's fully casted, and it'll be out next year. And
Wow.
principal photography begins late this month.
Wow. Well, you
Yeah,
guys
to
keep
say
going,
that,
man, I tell
so
you.
stressful.
Oh, but you guys keep going. It has just been such a pleasure having you back on. But you cannot make this like a 2-year adventure anymore because you're gonna have me and Tack picking you up in the Uber.
Oh, Tag, you'll forever be Angel, a cab driver.
Oh yes, Angel, what's up?
Hopefully, he has a brand new phone next year.
Well, yeah, maybe everybody will have a brand
Yeah.
new phone next year.
I won't.
Yeah.
You all okay? Never mind.
Yeah. I do want to say that for all our efforts of the entire cast, most of them couldn't be here today, but whoever's here, thank you. Our film Icarus Falls will be premiering at the TCL Chinese Theater at the Silicon Beach Film Festival a week from today.
Woo!
Uh, it was selected, and it's going to show to the entire city of Hollywood, and we're very excited to promote it here with you and see what happens next.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I am very excited too. Okay, and let it be known that next time you guys come around, because I know there's going to be some familiar faces. I would love to see Tack back. I mean, he's really psycho. I mean, I like his character. I like it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different, but most of all, don't forget to go see Icarus Falls. Am I right? Am I saying this right? Yep. Icarus, right? That's right.
Correct.
Icarus Falls.
I said it right. Yay, finally. And look for the back of Antonio's head on the poster. But most of all, look out for independent filmmakers all over the place. You guys are amazing, and I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of something that most people say would fail, but is succeeding rather. I mean, I don't even know what the word would be, gloriously. But here we go. Icarus Falls will be out. You guys go see that wherever you have possible, if you can, and also request it in your theater, because that's how it works. I mean, if you request it, am I right? If they request it, then the more requests you get for something, the more demand it becomes, and then the more places you can release. Or is that not right?
No, you're correct. If the theater owner or whatever, the theater company, it's like, hey, you guys are getting slack, then we want to put your film, I don't know, a month or something, so people could come see it. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's actually a good question. We're gonna go ahead and do our own digital download, and we're going to put up a site before the 10th so that we have our own distribution. And I think really quickly, like to plug some idea that Vinny and I have been working on
Mhm.
about funding 500 films in the next 18 months using crowdsourcing and having this kind of platform where people can bring their scripts and get them looked at. So that's all I'll say about that. It's just in its inception, but it's a tech platform, and we're looking to create our own distribution network for
Nice.
something like that. So we invite people to submit their screenplays and give us a shot.
Wow. Where can they do that?
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Icarus site. I don't know what the URL will be, but we'll make sure that we share it, and maybe you can share it later on. But there's no link, there's no website. We're still in the prototype mode and planning.
It, it's a
Nice.
great idea. It's open to any filmmakers who want to make a film, and we want to give filmmakers opportunity to tell more stories. We want to bring in more of the independent filmmakers. There's too many comic book movies, and not enough for the small person to tell a story, and that's why uh, I give Daniel a lot of props, because when he said 500, I'm like, 500? Wow! I'm like, I am down to do that. Let's find the people to do this.
And
Yeah.
So
just to be
yes,
clear, that's a marketplace where you may or may not get funded, but at least you'll have the shot to be seen by our network of, and let's say my investor peers and people that I'm associated with in the tech finance and film finance world. So
Nice.
it's just a marketplace, no promises, but like Benny said, we do want to create sort of a distribution exclusively for independent films and a sponsorship marketplace too to get your film funded.
Nice. Well, guys, this has been such a pleasure. I'm so happy for you guys. I can't wait to see the next film. And again, if you've missed the trailer, here it is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, uh, stay away from tech.
See you guys.
How's it going, ma'am? Nope. How's it going, ma'am? How's your night been going? Oh, you want to hang? Oh, I can do that. I can sure use that right about now. I got all the time in the world, baby. Shut the fuck up.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, not you. I was talking to myself.
You're pathetic, you know that? You've always been weak until you take control. I can't. Come on, this is your chance.
There's a man on the ground. I think he's dead. His help.
There are some things in this world that you may not find that normal.